This is not just any fender. It is a Dave Gilmour fender. And as you can see, there's a phase switch beside the tone controls, short tremolo arm, black body, cream knobs, white pickups as per Dave Gilmour, and the Fender dark yellow neck as per Dave Gilmour. Only one string tree on it. I have to fill that in, and I'm not going to relic it, but there's no cover on the back, which is as per Dave Gilmour. I put on the neck. The neck was new. I had to file away slight parts of the neck there, which when I've set it all up and I'm happy with it, I will polish and return back to that sort of yellowy fender like. Now, when I plugged it in, nothing happened. So let's go to the other camera and have a look then. This is for a client of mine who's very excited about this. His whole life he's wanted a Dave Gilmour guitar. It has special tuners on the end. So I still have to try to polish out a couple of scratches here. He doesn't want it relicked the way Dave Gilmour's guitar is, but he does want it looking a bit like it as much as he can. Now, I put a string on just to get the neck set up, and the string's doing very well, all very well and good. And we're all happy about that. It says something on those. What does it say? Let me get my glasses. Let me get my bald head down there. It says Fender on those. On both sides of them, Fender. So, I had my doubts whether it was actually a Fender or not, but it is a Fender. I didn't actually look for there's a serial number on the neck, but say that way. Right. I'm going to take off the electrics just to see what they're looking like onto there. Somebody told me about a shoestring thing to take off the knobs. Problem is I don't have a shoestring. So we're going to have to just use my my padded. Yeah, all my shoes are either sandals or. No, anyway, okay. So I'm going to have to use my padded string pullers, and they're working well anyway. But I will use a shoestring someday. I think that if my client wants to, I think he should maybe invest in new knobs, because those knobs look like they've been replaced by cheaper knobs. But if you're going to go and have a Fender body, a Fender neck, and do it all the way Dave Gilmour has, maybe that's the same type of knobs he has. Personally, I think he's a bit of a knob, but there you go. Hot, hot, boom, boom. He's not as much of a knob as Roger Waters or Walters or what do you call him. God, that man is a dick. Another prick in the wall. Don't start me on Roger Waters. Preaching to everybody about love and all that sort of crap, and yet he's out. Don't start me. Who started me on Roger Waters? I think I might replace these screws too, because they're looking a little bit dull. Let's just see what we have now. Oh, that's why it's not working. That's why it's not working. It's not wired up yet. That makes a little bit of a difference, doesn't it? Let me just see. I think I'm going to beef up the wiring a little bit. It just makes all the difference, doesn't it? Let's just take off the jack plug. And the jack plug will come free too, as you think it would do. Right, so that explains why there's no sound. I'll give it a good clean now that it's off. And yeah, the Dave Gilmour guitar has the 3 springs going to the center one. I would like to relic this, make it closer to what he's trying to achieve, but he said maybe the next one. So we're planning to do another one. All right, okay. Right, so there's no point in you seeing me putting a couple of wires on. I have to put an earth on that as well, because the earth hasn't run. Maybe you just, there's only 2 wires to connect. So I'll cut it off while I do that and come back to you when I've wired it. Right, that is it rewired. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm glad I did rewire it because I realized that this pick guard was on incorrectly, and I put it on correctly in the right holes and everything, and it needs to be trimmed down the side for the neck. So I'm going to test the electrics now just to make sure everything's working. Although I don't see why it should not be working. We'll see. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Oh. Right. Okay. Oh, the switches have never been used. It's brand new by the look of it, but it's got some scratches on it. Strange way of wiring, but maybe that's the way Mr. Gilmour likes his guitars wired. Let's put the volume up a little bit. I'll just check that, Mr. Gilmour, to make sure Mr. Gilmour is, that's what you wish. Somebody's ringing me. Stop, hold on. 'Tis amazing what you learn. I had this all put together. This is the Dave Gilmour guitar with the special neck switch. I had this all put together because this is a pre-built board that you can buy, and I plugged it in and the little switch didn't work. Now have a close look for yourself before I tell ye what's wrong with it. Had I looked, but I didn't think to look because I didn't think I needed to look. I thought it was a pre-wired board. But have a good look. That's the rain you hear on the roof as usual. That's the switch. There's nothing wired to it, it's just sitting there. Nobody's wired it. So a wire has to go from there to there, and a wire has to go from there to the neck, and that's all. But why they didn't put the wire in, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm going to heat up the soldering arm and do that, and that should be it, except for one problem. There's a scratch on the pick up board, and I'm going to try to polish that off, but I don't know how successful I'll be. We'll see. Okay, I've tinned the wire, and I need to put the wire on there. Right, okay. So now I'm not going to put it back together, as you probably can imagine. I'm going to test it thoroughly before I go any further. Well, I did my little testy thing, and it is doing something. What it's doing, I don't know, but we have a difference, and it's wired correctly. I've checked the wiring several times. So the only way to really test it is to get the strings back on it and put it all back together again. You sitting there listening to me click, 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 clicking, not going to tell you anything. So I'm going to stick it back together roughly and put the strings back on, and maybe even 1 or 2 strings just to test the tone of it, because I still have the issue with the back, this plate here that's can you see it? I've already cleaned it up a bit, but it's still not good enough. But maybe for a Dave Gilmour copy, which is Dave Gilmour's pièce de résistance, he wants a slightly relic. But we'll see. Strings on. We have a bit of sound. It's roughly tuned. Now let's see what you do, Dave. Let's just check the tuning. It's not too bad. Right. Middle position. Switch back. Switch forward. Okay, this is the neck position. It shouldn't do anything. It doesn't. Right, neck and that, I presume. No, it doesn't do anything because it's bringing the neck in. This will be the middle. Okay, fourth position. Right, tone knobs are all up full, and the back position. So it gives you a lot more room for reverberation, so that's all well and dandy and fine and dandy. I'm not going to screw it down yet until I can see what I can do with it. Just a quick update to say, Houston, we have a problem. The problem we have is that, can you see this? Can't lift this up to you, so hopefully I'll be able to zoom in a good quality enough to let you see it. But the problem we have is everything was working perfectly. I managed to polish up the whole guitar and get it all working and tuning it. But when I pressed down on the pick guard, a buzzing happened. And what is happening is that the depth of that 5-way pickup is not deep enough to the guitar. So these wires, which are so badly soldered and tiny, are on top, and when they're pressing down, something's shorting out. It won't be there, it'll be there. Now there's two options I can have. I can dig a little hole out there, or I can take the wires off the top of the soldering and put them beneath on each occasion, so that none of the wires are on top. But these are so fragile, these wires. They're just like the width of a hair. This is the width of a typical piece of wire, and you can see how small those are, so they're very fragile. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to just drill out a little bit here to give myself room, and I'm going to put tape around each one of those to try to keep it separate, and hope that that's enough. Let me just switch it on for a second. Pressing down itself is not, it probably was one of the wires was caught over the other one. I'll try to put a little bit of heat shield around each one and melt it down in, but that's going to be fiddly. You don't want to watch that. All right. Right, that's the finished job. As you see, I have taken off the wires and soldered them from underneath, and then put heat shield over the top of them, except for that one where there had to be 2 wires coming in, and they're all heat shielded. Not worried about this end. Right, this, oh come on, get into focus, for goodness sake. These 2 had to be soldered together, so I decided I would go over and around, and I soldered it down to the bottom part of it. So that's it now, and that all should squish down without too much hassle. Now I noticed something else that I've seen done before. If it still is a problem, I'll disconnect the wires from the top and solder them to the holes, but I hope I don't have to do that. Okay, let's try it out. Okay, let's try the amplifier on. And yeah, and I press down and there's nothing there. Right, okay, I'll put it together now again. That's it sorted. Anyway, we're back at it because the new Wilkinson 6-in-a-row tuners have arrived. Let me just see, I can't see the name Wilkinson. Where is it? Oh, there it is, yeah. It says, I wanted to show you the difference. Let's see if we can get you into focus. Let's just get you down there into focus, right. The difference is in manufacturing quality is amazing. In appearance, there isn't an awful lot, but you can see if you look closely at the inner, see how that's not fitted, and if you look closely at the circle, you'll see it's not fitted into the hole. It's rounded. Also on that side, if you look closely, where are you? If you look closely, you see it's not fitting to the top. Now, if you look at the Wilkinson one, probably made in China too, who knows? But the quality of manufacture, you see it's fitted perfectly. And if you turn it around, you see the, right, get into focus. There's the gap for the top is not there between the knob and the steel. And the other side, that looks perfect fitting compared to the other one, which is a bigger, where are you? Get in there. Right, you can see the difference. But overall, for the sake of one of those, I think 20 quid, and these would be about 20 quid for those, and 8 quid or something like that. Far better for the guitar. Anyway, there goes my text message. Excuse me. Right, back at this. Now what we're going to do is put those tuners in. I am not going to have any words of wisdom in this. What I had to do for the new Wilkinson ones, I had to drill out the hole slightly bigger. I may even, let me just see. No, I don't think I will. Yeah, no, I don't think I will. Oh, I forgot to show you one other thing about the tuners. I'll clip this in. One of the things I forgot to show you as the tuners is the groove of for the strings to go into. Look at the depth there, and the depth of the cheap ones. Now, what that would mean, can you see the depth of the two? The cheap ones are very short, and the more expensive ones have got a deeper groove. That make it an awful lot easier to string the guitar when the time comes. Anyway, back to where we were. So I'm going to screw these in with the proper screws that came from Wilkinson. I wonder where Wilkinson does manufacture. Probably China, but the quality is better. You can spend as much as you like on it, but Wilkinson seemed to be a good make, and I'm happy with them. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to shut up. Right, okay, get it strung up now and get it tuned. My camera cut off just at the very end of that last segment, and I don't know why. I don't want to have to keep watching the camera every 3 seconds. Right, let's plug this in. Get it tuned up. And I'm not going to use any words of dramatic wisdom to get this tuned up, so I'll speed this up. Oh, there's somebody to save me. Apologies, somebody just brought me a little Fender Strat to do some work on. which is there, which is almost identical. You can't see it, but it's almost identical to this one, but it's just a squire. Oh, where's the camera? What happened? Oh, that's because it's on the table. Now I'm just doing a run through on this now. Action's great up there, and it really is pretty good there, but I think I'm going to try to bring it down a touch. Just a touch. That amp's annoying me now. Anyway, let's just keep plodding on. People come to me and say, oh yeah, you know what you did for my guitar? You remember that time you did the nut and all that there? It's still working great. And I'm thinking to myself, what guitar? They all pass me by. The only one there are ones that stick out, like Jim Little's guitar with the Fender, the Rory Gallagher's and stuff like that. But a lot of the guitars just meant into oblivion, you know. They all, until I get it in front of me again. I've got one in front of me now that I had last week. I forgot to make the final video of it. I did all the video for the rest of it. A Washburn. If only Pink Floyd. But anyway, that must be the easiest chord progression to learn. And of course I'm doing it on a Dave Gilmour copy. My amplifier is buzzing. It's not the guitar that's making that buzzing noise. It's the amplifier. But anyway, there's the Dave Gilmour copy. It's going home. It's got one string tree. It's got the dark U colored gloss neck. It's got the little switch that does something which makes the tone sound like Dave Gilmour. It was sold, this guitar was sold for 3.7 million at an auction because no back played on, because that's the way David Gilmour likes his guitar. He also has a big scratch there and a big scratch there and a big dent there, but the guy didn't want to go that far this time. So this is going home to Daddy. It had a lot of things to do to it. I had to finagle the tuners quite a bit to get them the way they should be. But finagling is my job. So there you go. Away you go back to wherever brick in the wall place you come from.